Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will look into deploying a .NET application on AWS Lambda using CICD. If you have ever wanted to harness the power of serverless computing with your .NET projects, you are in the right place. I will walk you through everything you need to know from setting up your environment to deploying your app seamlessly using CICD pipeline. Alright, before we dive in, let's quickly go over the objectives for today's tutorial. Here's what we are going to cover. We will start by building and packaging our .NET application, getting it ready for deployment. Next, we will deploy our packaged .NET application to AWS Lambda. Finally, we will use Terraform to automate our infrastructure deployment, ensuring everything is set up efficiently and correctly. Most important thing, all this will be done using GitHub Actions. This is how our architecture diagram looks like. GitHub is our source repository where we are going to put all our source code. Then once the code is pushed, it will trigger the build and package workflow. Once the build and packaging is completed, the artifact is pushed to S3. This part, you can call it as continuous integration. Then once the build and package pipeline is completed successfully, the deployment pipeline will get triggered, which basically deploys our Lambda function. This part you can call it as continuous deployment. Now let's get started with the demo. This is my source repository. I'm going to share this repository with you in the description section. If I come to the Terraform infra, if you see the lambda.tf, first I have defined the provider here. So here I am creating the Lambda execution role, and below is the policy to be attached to the IAM role. Finally, this is the resource for the Lambda function. If you notice the S3 key, I have kept it as variable. This I will pass during the Terraform run in the GitHub Actions. The next important thing to notice here is the handler. If you see, the handler name is defined in such a way that the project file name should be there initially, then with double colon, the namespace name and the type of class, then the function name. Let me show you the application code, then it will be much more easier for you to understand. Let's click on app source code. So if you see the file name of the project file, it's .NET Lambda Hello World.cs project. So our handler should start with .NET Lambda Hello World, double colon, then the namespace name. Namespace name is .NET Lambda Hello World again. Dot, it will be the class name, its function. And finally, after two columns, it should be the function name, which is function handler. Now let's go to the build pipeline. So you need to navigate to the .github folder, and there is a build lambda package.yaml. Here if you see, this workflow will build and package the lambda function. I have defined few environment variables here. The application tag, you can see it's github.sh. So whenever a new run is made, the artifact of the lambda zip will be tagged as with the app name plus the app tag, which is the github.sh. And I have defined the bucket name also, where we're pushing the artifacts. And this is the setup to install .NET. And this is the install dependency to restore the .NET packages. And this is the Lambda tools we need to install for building the .NET application as a Lambda package. If you see the command .NET Lambda package, project location is basically the folder of your code. So for our use case, it's the app name only. So .NET Lambda Hello World. So here you can see the app name I've given as .NET Lambda Hello World. Now let's go to the zip file that we're creating as a part of the artifact. If you see the naming conventions there, so dash output package I have defined as the environment app name dash the app tag. App tag is basically the GitHub SHA that I have explained earlier. Next, we are setting up the AWS CLI and pushing the artifact to S3. Next, I am going to work through the deployment pipeline. So once this pipeline is successfully completed, the deployment pipeline will get triggered. In the deployment pipeline, you can see I have defined here, once the workflow is completed, then only it will trigger this pipeline. And there are a few environment variables like app tag and app name similar to the build pipeline. Now we are setting up the AWS CLI for this so that we can run the Terraform. Then next is Terraform setup and initialize Terraform with Terraform init command. The important thing to notice in the Terraform apply command is the variable that I'm passing here, the S3 bucket key, which is basically the package name that we're creating. Now, without waiting further, let's trigger this pipeline. I'm going to make a change in the source code. Basically, I'm updating the README file here so that the GitHub can recognize a change here. I'll commit the change, commit directly to the main branch, give some commit message, trigger build. With this change, our build pipeline should get triggered. So if you see the actions tab, I can see the pipeline is started. Let's click on this. So if you see the execution steps here, setup.net, install dependencies that already we have discussed. So the Lambda tools are getting installed. Then here the application is being built and packaged. Then the AWS CLI will set up. And finally, the upload to artifact to S3 is done. So once this pipeline is completed successfully, we will be able to see the deploy pipeline should automatically get triggered. Here you can see the name of the package that has been built, the app name dash GitHub SHA. Also, let's verify the AWS S3 command to upload the artifact. You see, this is the artifact name that we have uploaded to .NET Lambda deployment bucket. Now let's move to the deployment pipeline. So the deployment pipeline is also in action. Let's open it. The execution is already completed. The Lambda function is created. The Terraform apply is done. Let's verify. So if you see the package name is being updated from the earlier one to the latest one. Let's verify the S3 bucket here. So this is the artifact bucket. Let's search for the package name. So this is the latest package that we have created. I'm going to search this key on the S3 bucket. So if you see, the package is uploaded successfully. Now let's verify the Lambda. In the functions tab, let's go to test. It's loading here. I'm going to pass this input. Welcome to non-detect bytes. Test it out. And the function executed successfully. If you see, I'm going to expand these details. You can see the hello, welcome to non-detect bytes is printing out. With this, the .NET Lambda function deployment is done with CICD. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe.